Welcome to Raleigh, North Carolina for the Redman TNT All-American Pulling Series. Hi, everyone. I'm Stan Rhodes. Again, we thank you for joining us for Trucks and Tractor Power on the Nashville Network. And, of course, joining me once again, former Bigfoot driver Rich Hooser. And, Rich, tonight it's the super modified two-wheel drive trucks and funny cars. What's all the excitement about this class?
Well, the excitement about it, Stan, is the horsepower these vehicles can put out. Now, with the two-wheel drive class, are unlimited with cubic inches, so they can run blown and injected motors. And, of course, the strategy of where to put them weights to get a good pull. And you're going to see these guys, they're going to use this whole track tonight.
Okay, why don't we check in now with Mike Goss.
Thanks, Dan. This will soon be known as a driver's track for two reasons. It's a very sandy substance, which means it won't pack very tightly and hold the horsepower. Second, there's been a lot of rain on it lately. It's going to be slick and greasy. As you can see, it just crumbles apart. It doesn't hold together very well. My best guess is a crafty veteran who's been around a track like this for a long time is going to be the winner.
And we've got a field full of veterans tonight here at the North Carolina State Fairgrounds. We'll get started with the super modified two-wheel drive trucks and funny cars in a moment. All right, welcome back to the North Carolina State Fairgrounds in Raleigh. And we're ready to get started with the super modified two-wheel drive trucks and funny cars. Ken Lamont checking over the track. And our first puller, test puller, will be Lyons McLean. He's out of DeMossville, Kentucky. He'll be driving Rowdy.
And, of course, being the test puller, he'll have the choice to either take this pull or come back in another position down in the class, depending on whether or not he likes it or not. And, of course, if they think the sled is set right for the track.
And, of course, the question is here, Rich. A lot of rain here this week. It is dry today, and going to have to find out how these track conditions will go.
Right, it's going to be a driver's track. There's no doubt about it. This stuff's loose. It's got a lot of sand in it. It's going to take a lot of expertise to get this sled down the track and get a good distance. And, of course, coming out, he's taking it real easy. As you can see, his front end's not getting up in the air at all. He might be a little bit heavy on the front end, but since you can't get a whole lot of traction, he's just doing the best he can.
Not a whole lot of distance. 213.98 feet for his first run. Have to find out if he's going to keep that.
Right, and he'll have to decide whether or not he's going to keep that pull at the very beginning. Now, before he unhooks from the sled, he's got to let them know whether or not he wants that pull.
So Lyons McLean trying to dig in there and just didn't have quite the distance to go. And so now it's going to be Fred Freeman. And he's out of Wadesville, Indiana. And, Rich, he's driving Jim Brockman's Kentel C cab.
Yeah, and the reason why is Brockman's got two vehicles here tonight, and he's driving one of them, and Fred Freeman's driving the other. The reason for that is TNT states in their rule book that if you bring more than one vehicle and you want to accumulate points, you got to have two different drivers. So we'll see how he does with this. It's his first time driving this vehicle. He comes out pretty easy, and he's starting to accelerate just a little bit. About halfway down the track, he starts to open up a little bit more. His left front tire is just bouncing a little bit. He might be just a little heavy in the front, but not too bad. It's a pretty good run.
He looks close, and he is. He has gotten that full pull.
Boy, just barely. He did a real good job just easing that sled down the track. As you can see, he's not kicking up a lot of dirt. He's just taking it nice and easy, and the front end's barely up in the air at all.
Well, you could not tell that Freddie's ever driven this truck.
What is the difference between a two-wheeler and a tractor?
Well, the basic difference is on a tractor you just got a lot more horsepower, and you can feel the engines vibrate a lot more. You know, you can feel the tires turning because they turn a lot faster. And where a two-wheeler, it's more or less like driving a car down a bumpy gravel road.
Well, Freddie's got to feel happy about it, and Lyons McLean has decided he's going to come back and take another run. He was the test puller.
Well, that's good because he didn't have a very good pull his first time, so maybe he'll do a little bit better.
Well, right now it's going to be Kenny Lamont out of Crossville, Illinois. Midnight Express is what he's driving.
Of course, Kenny's a good driver. Now, this track has got it's real rough, Stan. It's going to take it to... Now, I don't know what's happening. He's not hardly getting on it at all here. He should be having a little bit more throttle in it there, I think. He's not doing very good at all, Stan.
No, he's not punching in at all. Apparently, maybe he's having some sort of problem.
He might have been. I'm not sure if it's the track or something's wrong with his engine or what, but he didn't do anything at all with it.
Well off the distance, 200.36 feet. Having a lot of problems. Okay, let's go down trackside. As Mike Goss says, Kenny, let's see if we can find out what the problem was.
Kenny, looks like problems on the starting line. What's going on down there?
Well, I'll tell you what. When you try to run a professional motorsport, we need to get something in these rule books to where we know what we're going to have. If we're going to build mud bog vehicles, all TNT's got to let us do is know that's what we're going to run. You know, this truck right now is in the lead for the point.
Well, it's a very upset Kenny Lamont there, Rich. Fortunately, the situation is the same for everybody. Brian Reed out of Hebron, Connecticut, he has to take his Sudden Thunder down the same track.
Yeah, when you get a full pull right before him and then he comes out and really doesn't do anything with it, it's really hard to tell what's going on with it. So he's going to come out a little easier, I think, but he's going to hit it, I think, a little bit more than Kenny Lamont did. But, yeah, a little bit faster. He's trying to get a little bit more speed up, try to get that sled down a little further. But nobody's really doing too good right now.
No, it looks like the best has been Fred Freeman getting that full pull, but they seem to wait to get the throttle going. And here, distance of 250.61 feet.
Yeah, if you can keep that sled rolling and get it going a little bit and get some speed up with that vehicle, you can probably pull it a little bit farther. But with this track, as much sand as in it, they're having a hard time doing it.
Brian, you got to be real careful on the throttle tonight, don't you?
Yeah, you do. You could really over-rev. The track's real slippery. We're not getting a hold of it, and that's why I just took it out easy, and what happens, happens.
Did you ever feel it hook up at all, or it's just real slick?
No, it was real slick. You could feel the back fishtailing all the way down through. It never came close.
So, Rich, everybody's having the same kind of territory to cover, and some are doing it good and others not quite as good. So now it will be Ray Carpenter's turn in Sundance Kid. He's out of Bettendorf, Iowa.
And of course, what he was talking about hooking up, what Mike asked him, and what they mean by that is get some traction. When they come off that line, they can't give it a lot of gas because it's real slick. So when they mean hook up, that means they get a good piece of the ground and get a good bite. Like he's doing right now. He's got a little bit of a bite right there. He's doing pretty good. That box is coming up on him quick, though. He's slowing down, bouncing a little on the front end. His weight should be about right. It's a pretty good pull.
Not bad at all. There you see it. It puts him in second with 272.46 feet. Not a bad run.
Yeah, another 30 foot he needed to go to get that full pull, and it was just, he's trying as hard as he could. But you can see his front end was just barely bouncing off the ground.
Well, Ray Carpenter gave it a shot. Let's go down to Mike Goss.
Now, Ray, when do you decide to open up that throttle on a track like this?
Well, we just try to do it by the seat of our pants. You got to know when the tire speed matches the speed of the sled versus the whole unit, because you're really doing it as one out there. And tonight it's really a pick 'em deal, Mike. It's wet. And we had to move a lot of weight, and it really takes some thinking on our part tonight. I'll tell you that.
Well, Lyons McLean's done some thinking, and he's going to come back for his second shot. We'll be back from Raleigh in a moment. There you see Ron Hickson aboard the Decision Maker, driving that sled, and now it's going to be Lyons McLean coming back for his second shot. The distance to beat is a full pull. Let's see how well he can do.
Well, let's see if he learned a lot from that first pull, Stan. Now, he's coming out about the same as he did. Well, let's see if he opens it up a little bit more. He's kind of off and on the throttle a little bit, not getting a whole lot of traction. Seems to be still kind of heavy on that front end. It's not going to be a good pull, Stan.
No, I think, matter of fact, it's looking kind of close. He might be a little bit shorter than what he had, yes. Just around 200 feet for Lyons McLean. Well, the sled stopped him there. Let's find out how this sled works.
Ryan Hickson has the best seat in the house at a truck and tractor pull. That's because he's one of the most important people at the pull. He controls the competition with his weight transfer machine. Let me show you how it works. In this box is a number of 2,000-pound lead weights, and in the process of a pull, this box will move up these rails, taking the weight off of the rear tires and putting it onto this pan. Now, during the process of a pull, the farther the vehicle pulls down the track, the farther this box moves up, the heavier it gets. So Ron Hickson and his Decision Maker is everybody's competition.
And now Ron Hickson will take on the 1988 points champ, Mike Stowe, in Bad Dog. He's out of Warrenton, Georgia.
Of course, he's got a brand new truck this year, Stan. New frame and body and engine and just everything. And he's still trying to work some of the bugs out. Well, let's see how he can do. He needs to get that full pull. And he's coming up pretty good. He just eases on the throttle. And there at about 100 foot, he starts getting it a little bit more. He's pretty much keeping it the same right there. Kind of off and on a little bit. He's doing a pretty good job. The box is just about at the top. And he's bouncing just a little bit in the front end there. He had his weight just about right.
But a good run, 275.50, and that will move him into second place.
Well, he did a good job. Now, of course, these guys are watching everybody pull. They're moving their weights farther back on the vehicle as much as they can. It looks like he could use just a little bit more weight in his back tires.
Well, the track has given them a lot of competition along with the Decision Maker, but Mike Stowe did a pretty good job. Let's go down trackside.
Mike, good enough for second place. You know, when you're the national champion, that means you've got more than a good truck. You really need to be a driver, and this track really tests you.
Well, unfortunately, these are not ideal conditions. We've been struggling a little all year. I need a chance to get back on my driving skills and not rely on the power the truck can make to learn how to set it up. This will give me a step. If I can hang on here and gain a little ground here, we'll be all right. I got confidence in the old dog. She's tough. She's been there.
Well, Rich, we talked earlier, it could be that it needs a veteran to win this, and right now, it's going to be Jim Lyons out of Louisville, Kentucky, and Stitches also. And he's got to beat a full pull by Fred Freeman of Kendall Seacab.
And if anybody can do it, I think Lyons can. Like you said, it takes a veteran. This guy's been around the country pulling on a lot of different tracks. And now look at this. Look how much the front end's up in the air. A lot more than these other guys. He's got his weight perfect, Stan. He's got an excellent run.
He's in good shape.
A little high right there, but
there you go.
Full pull.
All right, so now we've got two full pulls, Fred Freeman and Jim Lyons.
And, of course, you can see right here in the replay, it's a perfect pull. That's how everybody wants to run. Now, I tell you what, a few guys that are left, they're going to be looking at Lyons' truck and trying to figure out where his weights are.
Well, indeed, and a good run for Jim Lyons. Let's go down to Mike Goss.
Jim, you excited this crowd. What did you do different from everybody else?
I just pulled all the old tricks out I had that I could pull and knew that you had to hook it. I said, it's got to be hooked, and I fattened the motor up so fat it wouldn't run, and, you know, I got there.
Well, Jim Lyons awfully happy, and he should be. So now it's Dan Walsh's turn. He's out of Linden Station, Wisconsin, driving Irish Challenger.
And, of course, this is another vehicle that I think he could probably get a full pull. This is a good running truck. He's got a lot of experience. He's got a 4-engine tractor that he runs in the circuits. He's got a lot of experience. Now, he's not quite as light the front end as Lyons was, but he's doing real good. The front end is barely coming off the ground. He's hooking up right there. He's getting his traction. He's getting all that power to the rear wheels. It's another full pull, Stan. Can you believe this?
Here we are, Fred Freeman, Jim Lyons, and Dan Walsh, full pull.
This is getting great. 3 of them like that, and a couple of guys didn't do that good at all. And I'll tell you what, these guys getting farther back in the field. They're watching these other guys, and they're improving their runs.
Not a bad run at all. He's got that front end just right and takes it over the line. Let's go down to Mike Goss.
Dan, explain to me how so many good trucks can look so bad and then all of a sudden 2 in a row take it out.
Well, it's hard. They weren't used to throwing enough weight in the back. Usually you run 400 to 500 pounds. I had 2,000 pounds on the back, everything I could get to make it hook up, and you just got to go for a ride.
And a ride indeed is in store for Art Hathaway out of Washington, Pennsylvania in Honkin' Donkey. He's going to see if he can match all those full pulls we've had, Rich.
And, of course, this is another new truck here. It's a narrowed F-150 pickup, and he's got a long wheelbase on this thing. He's got the engine. He's got the power. Let's see if he's got that driving ability like these other guys to get it out the gates. He's doing pretty good right now. He's got it bouncing just a little bit in the front. It might be just a little bit heavy, but he's getting a little bit of traction right there. As you can see, his front end starts to come up. That's where he's hooking up. He's getting all of his traction right there. He gets up pretty high. It's a good run, but not good enough.
Just a little bit too late. Honkin' Donkey, unfortunately, 268.93. Not enough for that full pull.
No, he should have got on it a little bit sooner, Stan. He got past about 100-foot mark before he started really getting on it. If he would have got on it, got a little bit more momentum, I think he could have done a little better.
Well, I'm sure it could be what he's thinking right now. If I'd only had put down that throttle a little bit earlier. But nonetheless, it will be John Heilman's turn in the Levi Garrett team, and he's out of Rockford, Ohio. A funny car here.
Of course, one of the few funny cars here. This is a Thunderbird. Now, he also has a lot of horsepower, and he's got the ability to do this. He's a good driver, and he's got a good piece of equipment, but let's see how it handles. He's getting on a little bit harder than these other guys. His front end's starting to bounce, getting a little bit of traction, but he's starting to lose it right there. He's starting to slip and slide, and he's not going to get there either.
No, just past the 200-foot mark, and he's digging in, and that's going to stop him. Levi Garrett, John Heilman, 238.35 feet.
Wheel speed is real important here to get them tires going just right. You get going too fast, you start losing traction. But then again, if you don't get them going fast enough, you can't get that sled moving to get the distance.
It looks like he just wasn't able to get the momentum going. And there you see Jim Brockman. He's checking out the track, lining up the sled, getting ready for his truck, the Kendall Seat Cab, to come back for a pull-off. And that'll be driven by Freddie Freeman. He'll take on Jim Lyons and Stitches also. They'll take on Dan Walsh and the Irish Challenger when we come back for the pull-off. So welcome back to Raleigh. We're ready for the pull-off as Freddie Freeman backs up the Kendall Seat Cab. And there you see the standings in the pull-off. Fred Freeman, Kendall Seat Cab, Jim Lyons and Stitches, and Dan Walsh in the Irish Challenger. And, of course, now guaranteed for the 4th and 5th places will be Mike Stowe and Bad Dog and Ray Carpenter and Sundance Kid.
And just a note that these 5 guys were head and shoulders above the rest of the field here. Now, in the pull-off, this sled's going to be a lot heavier. They've added weight to the sled, so you're not going to see any of these guys take this sled out the gate in the pull-off unless they do something very extraordinary.
Well, there's Freddie Freeman ready to go. He's in Jim Brockman's Kendall Seat Cab. Let's see how he does.
Okay, he's doing pretty good now. He's hitting it a little bit harder. Looks like he might have moved a little bit of weight back farther on them rear wheels. He's getting it's got a good run here, Stan. He's going to have a good distance. This could be hard to beat.
Well, we'll find out. He's gone down to 238.84 feet, but I'll tell you what, he's got Jim Lyons and Dave Walsh behind him.
Yeah, and it's going to be tough. These guys are both real good, and they could catch up to him and be right with him. Now, he's got a good run. As you can see in the replay, you can see that all-aluminum body shaking back and forth there.
Yes,
he's getting some traction there. His wheels are up in the air.
All right, let's go down and check in with Mike Goss trackside.
As he gets ready to
Fred, describe your pull-off run for us.
Well, they put a lot of weight in the sled, and it was a lot heavier this time than the first time, but, you know, I drug her a pretty good ways down through there, and hopefully it'll be good enough wind to run for Jim to win, but I'll tell you, Jim Lyons, he's going to be hard to beat because he's an expert on this track, but I'm well satisfied with that run.
Well, Fred's satisfied, but he may be right about Jim Lyons. He's had a chance to see Fred go down the track. He's gotten 238.84 feet. I'm sure Jim's going to give him a run for the money.
Yeah, and if he can do exactly what he did last time, I think he can do it. He's running right down the middle of the track. He's taking it nice and easy. Look at his front end come up. As soon as it was up, he nailed it. And he's giving it's wide open. He's getting a little close to that. He just let off the gas. He was close to going out of bounds, Stan. And he let off of it, he gassed it again, and he pulled it another 5 or 6 feet.
He sure did. Good run, 265.17 feet. Unbelievable how he let off and punched it again.
Yeah, that's pretty hard on your equipment, too. Now, here's a man that he wants to win this thing and whatever it takes, but his equipment is held together real good here tonight.
He came close to that right side and backed off and hit it again. Good run for Jim Lyons. I'm sure he's got to be satisfied with that. And as Dan Walsh comes in, let's go down to trackside.
Jim, a beautiful run, except for almost going out of bounds. What happened?
I knew it was going out of bounds, and I was on the brakes, and I couldn't get it back over, so I said, I'm going to come out of it and go with it again, so I just had to do that. And, you know, Walsh has got a good truck, and they'll make a super run. I expect Walsh to win it.
Well, Rich, Freddie Freeman says Jim Lyons is going to win it. Jim Lyons says that Dan Walsh is going to win it.
It's hard to say who's going to win this. It's the last chance right here for Dan Walsh and the Irish Challenger. He's the last one out here. Let's see if he can do it. If he don't, he's not looking very good at all right now, Stan. He's not hooking up. He's at a bad part of the track. He's over to the right-hand side a little bit farther than where Lyons was. Here, he's starting to hook up right there, but it might be too late.
Yeah, it's looking kind of short. He had to go at least 266 feet. It looks short. Yep, 221.03. That leaves him in 3rd place. So that means that Jim Lyons is the winner.
It does, and he did a good job, and he deserves it. It was an excellent run by Lyons, and as you can see here, Irish Challenger, he come out, he just not getting enough bite on that track right now. And then when he does, right there, it's just a little too late.
Well, it was the crafty veteran that won. Let's go down to Mike Goss.
Just didn't come out of the hole in the pull-off like it did your first time out.
Right. What happened, I set up high on the right like Jim did, and when I took off, if you notice, what I did when I took off, my rear end of the truck slid over about 6 inches. I fell into Jim's roots, and there was nothing there.
Well, Rich, this has been a great night of pulling.
It has. The track was just, for some people, terrible. Some of the guys didn't do that good, yet we had 3 vehicles in the pull-off.
All right, well, let's go down to Mike Goss. He's got our winner, Jim Lyons.
Jim, you've won 3 national championships. You've had a tough year, but I kind of knew you'd be back.
Well, what I did on this deal here, I took everything out of that new truck that we built and put back in the old truck and got it all back to where it's dead on. So it's running super good, and then I played all the games that I could tonight to win it because it took everything in your knowledge to win on this track.
Well, the crafty veteran indeed did win. Congratulations once again to Jim Lyons. For Mike Goss and Rich Hooser, this is Stan Rhodes saying so long from Raleigh, North Carolina. Join us next week for Trucks and Tractor Power on the Nashville Network.